First contact and deception. Captain Ilara Chen stood motionless on the observation deck of the UES Pathfinder, Earth's most advanced diplomatic vessel. Through the massive viewport, the Galactic Confederation headquarters stretched before her. A colossal structure resembling a silver lotus, each petal housing the embassies of hundreds of different species. The shimmering nebula behind it cast purple and blue hues across the polished hull, creating an image so beautiful it almost didn't seem real. Quite the sight, isn't it? Admiral Hassan appeared beside her, his weathered face reflecting the same awe she felt. Humanity's greatest achievement, joining the galactic community after centuries of looking up at the stars and wondering. Ilara nodded, straightening her formal diplomatic uniform. 3 years of negotiations, technology exchanges, and cultural assessments, all leading to today's formal admission ceremony. You've earned your place leading this delegation, Captain, Hassan said, placing a hand on her shoulder. No one worked harder to make this happen. The comm unit on Ilara's wrist chimed. Captain, the Confederation shuttle has docked. The welcoming committee awaits. She took a deep breath. This is it. Let's make history. The delegation's reception at the Confederation headquarters was everything humanity had hoped for. A grand ceremony with representatives from over 200 alien civilizations. The Galactic High Council, composed of the 12 most influential species, presided over the event with apparent dignity and respect. High Counselor Zex Toral, an imposing figure with iridescent scales and 4 upper limbs, presented Ilara with the formal charter of admission. Humanity has demonstrated remarkable resilience and innovation. The translator rendered his clicking speech. The Confederation welcomes Earth as our newest protected member. Ilara accepted the document with a practiced smile, though something in the phrasing gave her pause. Protected member. I believe our negotiations specified full autonomous member status. Counselor Zex Toral's secondary eyelids flickered in what the human delegation had learned was amusement. A simple translation error. All new species begin as protected members. It is merely a formality as you integrate into our complex interstellar systems. Director Kaido Nakamura, Earth's chief xenolinguist, leaned close to Ilara. Our translators don't make those kinds of errors, he whispered. The distinction between protected and autonomous was specifically covered in our language exchanges. Ilara maintained her diplomatic smile. We look forward to clarification on this matter in the detailed briefings to follow. The celebrations continued late into the night by Earth standards. As the delegation mingled with various alien representatives, Dr. Maya Rivera, Earth's leading xenobiologist, found her way to Ilara's side, her expression troubled. Captain, something's not right, Maya said quietly. I've been comparing notes with a Tellurian researcher about medicinal compound exchanges. According to their records, we're being offered treatments their civilization considered obsolete 300 years ago, not the cutting-edge medicines promised in our agreements. Ilara frowned. Are you certain? Absolutely. And when I pressed for information, they became evasive. Then their supervisor pulled them away from our conversation, rather abruptly. Over the next week, similar discrepancies mounted. The embassy quarters assigned to Earth were located in a remote section of the station, far from the central decision-making chambers. The technology transfers contained subtle but critical limitations. Mining agreements gave Confederation species unrestricted access to Earth's resources, while imposing strict quotas on human expansion. During a private dinner with her senior staff, Ilara locked down their quarters with Earth-made security measures. I think we need to face the possibility that we've been deceived, she said, looking at each of her team members in turn. Engineer Commander Jackson Wells nodded grimly. The FTL drive schematics they provided are deliberately flawed. If we built engines according to these specifications, we'd be limited to travel within our immediate star cluster. Meanwhile, they're expecting unrestricted access to our solar system. Director Nakamura opened his tablet. I've been analyzing their historical records. It appears this is a pattern. In the last 300 years, 17 species have joined as protected members. None have advanced to autonomous status. Instead, they've become resource providers and labor sources for the ruling species. Maya's voice was tight with anger. They're colonizers. The diplomatic language just obscures their true intentions. Ilara leaned forward. So what do we do? If we confront them directly, they could cut us off from the galactic community entirely. We're technologically outmatched. Maybe not as severely as they think. Commander Wells said thoughtfully. We've been holding back certain advancements during negotiations, as instructed by Earth Command. Our quantum shield technology, the dark matter propulsion research. They don't know everything we're capable of. And we're not the only ones in this situation. Director Nakamura added, I've made contact with representatives from other protected species. They're interested in discreet conversations. Ilara stared at the starscape visible through their viewport. Then we gather information. We learn everything we can about how this system actually works. We make connections with others in our position, and we prepare Earth for the truth that we haven't joined a community of equals. We've been marked for exploitation. And then, Maya asked, then we do what humanity does best when backed into a corner. We find a way to change the rules of the game. Over the next 6 months, Ilara's team implemented what they called the Shadow Coalition, a network of contacts among the newer, marginalized species of the Confederation. Each had experienced similar deceptions, yet each possessed unique knowledge and technologies that had been kept hidden from their protectors. The Tellarians had developed organic computing that surpassed anything the dominant species possessed. The Novan engineers had perfected efficient energy systems that made them valuable but kept them dependent on resource allocations. The Azeri understood the Confederation's financial networks better than anyone, having managed them from behind the scenes for generations. During a clandestine meeting in the neglected lower levels of the station, representatives from 17 species gathered, their translators carefully modified to prevent surveillance. We've all reached the same conclusion, Ilara addressed the group. The Confederation isn't what it claims to be. It's a sophisticated system designed to extract resources and labor from newer civilizations while maintaining the power of the founding species. Mixtal, a Tellarian with luminescent skin patterns that shifted with his emotions, spoke next. For 3 centuries, we tried working within their system, hoping to advance. It has only led to deeper dependence. There's a classification in their secure archives, added Karina, an Izeri financial expert whose crystalline exoskeleton glimmered under the dim lights. They categorize all species. The founding 12 are sovereign powers. The next tier are allied contributors. The rest of us, resource species. A ripple of anger moved through the gathering. Ilara felt her jaw tighten. Resource species. So that's how they see us. What alternatives do we have? Asked a Novan representative. Open rebellion would be crushed immediately. Their military force overwhelms any single species. Ilara exchanged glances with her team before responding. Perhaps a direct confrontation isn't the answer. What if instead of fighting a system designed to exploit us, we simply remove ourselves from it? Not with declarations or demands, but through coordinated, silent action. Withdrawal. Mixtel's skin flashed with patterns of surprise. No species has ever withdrawn from the Confederation. Exactly, Ilara said. They won't expect it. They believe we're all desperate to belong, that we'll accept any terms to maintain our place here. What if we prove them wrong? The discussion continued for hours, plans taking shape as each species contributed perspectives and possibilities. By the meeting's end, a framework for unprecedented action had been established. The Shadow Coalition would prepare quietly, coordinate securely, and when ready, show the Confederation what happens when the exploited simply walk away. As Ilara returned to the Earth Embassy in the early hours, she received a priority communication from Earth Command. The message was brief but changed everything. Operation Blackout authorized. Proceed at your discretion. Earth had already reached the same conclusion and was ready to take dramatic action. Now, with allies among the stars, humanity wouldn't just be making a stand. They would be leading a quiet revolution that would reshape galactic politics forever. Ilara looked up at the artificial sky of the station, where holographic stars glimmered, unaware of the shift about to occur beneath them. "They think we'll beg for scraps from their table," she murmured. "They're about to learn that humans don't beg. We walk away and build our own table." The silent rebellion. High Counselor Zex Toril noticed the absence first. The human delegation had failed to appear at the quarterly resource allocation assembly, an unprecedented breach of protocol. When his aides attempted to contact Earth's embassy, they found the communication channels inactive. The embassy itself was accessible, but completely vacant. No personnel, no data in the computers, nothing but empty rooms with standard furnishings. A temporary emotional response, Zex Toril dismissed when informed. New species often exhibit irrational behaviors when adjusting to Confederation protocols. They'll return when they realize their vulnerability. But the humans didn't return. Instead, reports began arriving from across Confederation space. Human trading posts shuttered, research partnerships terminated, mining operations abandoned. Thousands of humans were quietly boarding transport vessels and departing, leaving no explanations, only perfectly executed exit clauses in their contracts. More disturbing still, 17 other species appeared to be following a similar pattern of disengagement. Not completely, not all at once, but systematically reducing their presence and participation in Confederation affairs. By the third week, the High Council could no longer ignore the situation. They convened an emergency session, their usual composure visibly strained. This coordinated action represents a direct challenge to Confederation authority. High Counselor Vexmar of the Drozani stated, his crystalline appendages clicking in agitation. "We must respond with immediate sanctions." Counselor Thanera, whose species had dominated interstellar banking for millennia, activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. "Before we determine a response, you should understand the economic implications of what's already occurring." The display showed cascading failures across multiple industries and sectors. The Morellian textile markets had collapsed without human cotton and fibers. The phased quantum processors that powered most Confederation technologies were experiencing critical supply chain failures without components produced by Tellarian bioengineers. The Azari's subtle withdrawal from financial systems was causing unpredictable market fluctuations. "This is more significant than a diplomatic protest," Thanera concluded. "This is an existential threat to our economic stability." For the first time in the recorded history of the High Council, silence fell completely over the chamber. Meanwhile, Earth had transformed. The massive defensive array that Captain Chen's team had secretly designed with their coalition partners now encircled the solar system. Not a solid barrier, but an intricate web of quantum sensors, automated defense platforms, and communication disruptors. In the command center beneath the Himalayan mountains, Ilara stood with Earth's unified leadership, watching as the last human ships returned from Confederation space. "Operation Blackout is 98% complete," she reported. "The remaining 2% are individuals who have chosen to stay for personal reasons. All have signed acknowledgments that they do so as private citizens without diplomatic protection." President Omar Mbeki, elected to lead Earth through this critical transition, studied the holographic display of their defensive perimeter, and our partners in the Shadow Coalition, executing their withdrawals according to their own timelines. The Tellarians have already completed their exit. The Novans and Azari are at approximately 65% completion. And the Confederation's response. Ilara allowed herself a small smile. Confusion, primarily. Their system wasn't designed to handle rejection. They expected us to negotiate, to compromise, to beg for concessions. When we simply left without demands, they didn't know how to respond. "That won't last," Admiral Hassan cautioned. "Once they understand the full economic impact, they'll move from confusion to anger. We should expect military action." "Let them try," Commander Wells said, gesturing to the defense array. "Our quantum shield technology is generations beyond anything they've seen." The Coalition provided the final pieces we needed to create a truly impenetrable defense system. They can't break through, and they know attempting it would reveal their true nature to every species in the Confederation. In the following weeks, the Confederation's desperation became evident. Diplomatic envoys were dispatched to Earth's defensive perimeter, transmitting messages offering clarifications and improved terms for human participation in the Confederation. Earth responded with silence. When a Confederation military vessel attempted to penetrate the defensive array near Jupiter, it found itself immobilized by targeted quantum field distortions, its systems intact but completely powerless. After 72 hours, it was gently towed back to the perimeter and released with a simple message: "Earth is closed to Confederation traffic." The incident was observed by representatives from dozens of Confederation species. Recordings spread rapidly through secure channels, demonstrating that the mighty Confederation military was not as invincible as believed. 6 months into what galactic historians would later call the Great Withdrawal, the first real communication arrived from the Confederation. Not an order or a threat, but a request for a meeting on neutral territory. Ilara led the Earth delegation to the designated asteroid base in unclaimed space. There, they found not just representatives from the High Council, but leaders from every major Confederation power. Their demeanor was markedly different from the condescension of previous interactions. The Confederation acknowledges that misunderstandings have occurred. High Counselor Zex Toral began, the translator conveying an unfamiliar tone of humility in his speech. "We wish to establish new parameters for potential cooperation." Ilara remained expressionless. "Earth is prepared to listen, though we make no commitments at this time." What followed was unprecedented in Confederation history. The dominant species, facing economic collapse and growing unrest among their own populations, proposed the Sovereign Species Accord, a completely restructured framework for interstellar relations based on genuine equality and fair exchange. "You understand we don't negotiate just for Earth," Ilara stated after the proposal was presented. "Any agreement must include full sovereignty for all coalition partners who joined our withdrawal." "That would fundamentally alter the structure of the Confederation," Zex Toral objected. "Yes," Ilara agreed simply. "It would." After 3 days of negotiations, the preliminary framework was established. The classification system would be abolished. All species would hold equal voting rights in a newly formed Galactic Assembly. Resource agreements would be renegotiated based on fair market principles. Technology exchanges would be open and reciprocal. As the delegations prepared to depart, Counselor Thanera approached Ilara privately. "How did you do it?" the ancient banker asked. "How did you coordinate such perfect withdrawal across multiple species without detection?" Ilara considered the question. "We recognized something you had forgotten. True strength isn't in dominance, but in cooperation. While you were busy maintaining your control, we were building relationships. When the moment came to act, we didn't need threats or coercion, just shared purpose and mutual respect." Thanera's translator conveyed a sound like thoughtful humming, a costly lesson for the Confederation. "But a necessary one," Ilara replied. "The universe is too vast for any single perspective to dominate. Diversity isn't just morally right, it's practically essential for advancement." 1 year later, Earth hosted the first summit of the reformed Galactic Assembly. Representatives from over 300 species gathered in the massive amphitheater constructed in the Sahara, its transparent dome offering a view of the stars they all shared. President Mbeki addressed the historic gathering. "We stand here not because of military might or economic leverage, but because we refuse to accept a system that diminished any of us. When faced with injustice, humanity didn't beg for better treatment or fight a war we couldn't win. We simply walked away, and in doing so, created the possibility for something better." Ilara, now serving as Earth's first ambassador to the Assembly, watched as former enemies and new allies mingled freely. The Shadow Coalition had evolved into the core leadership of this new galactic order, their experience with both oppression and resistance providing crucial perspective. As night fell over the Sahara, the stars became visible through the dome. Ilara found herself standing beside Mixtal, whose skin patterns glowed with what she now recognized as contentment. "Do you think it will last?" the Tellurian asked. This new arrangement, Ilara considered the question carefully. "Nothing lasts unchanged, but we've created something that can evolve rather than stagnate, and we've taught the galaxy an important lesson about humanity." "Which is?" She smiled, looking up at the vast expanse of stars. "That when pushed to choose between an unjust system and an uncertain future, we'll choose uncertainty every time. We don't beg, we don't break, and we never stop imagining better possibilities." Around them, the representatives of hundreds of worlds continued their discussions, laying the groundwork for a truly cooperative galactic civilization, one built not on exploitation but on the recognition that the greatest resource any species could offer wasn't their minerals or technologies, but their unique perspective on the universe they all shared.